They're like, all right, this kid wants to learn how to cook. They threw me in the prep kitchen, which was dope. I remember we had my first teachers was this gentleman named Ramon, and then we had this lady named Alice, but everyone just called her Mama.
Yeah.
Everybody, the chef Cliff called her Mama. Like everyone called this woman Mama. And my first job, we did Cliff's. He's Filipino, and we had the most amazing lumpia on our menu. And like literally, my job was I was to just separate the lumpia papers, like the lumpia rolls, because you get like the stack of like whatever 15 or 10 or whatever it is, 20, and they're all stuck together, so you have to pull them apart.
Yeah.
And
it's like the cheeseburger person, the cheese person.
Yeah,
it's just like you're just unpeeling cheese.
Hours. Every day. And like, I just remember doing that. And Mama she'd roll them. They'd teach me how to make the stuffing, the filling or whatever. And then, Dad, from there, I'd still be only allowed to separate the lumpia. And then she'd make them. And then, she'd try and show me. And I wouldn't know. They'd be looking like some fucked up joints. They weren't even at all. But
you've revoked from doing this, sir.
I know. So I just did lumpia, and then they started letting me mix the kimchi. I remember the biggest, or like the first like aha moment I ever had of like me doing some dumbass shit in a restaurant was like, because we'd make mad kimchi, and it would be in like the big old Lexan.
Yeah.
Right. Like the deep ones.
Yeah.
And I'd be mixing it, they give me the recipe, and it's like, it's kimchi, so you're just like, mixing it all together, weighing stuff out.
Yeah.
And I remember just like, it's my first job, so the other stupid tasks they had me doing, I was nicking my hands the whole time. And I'm like mixing the kimchi, and I look over at my chef, and I'm like, man, mixing this kimchi really fucking hurts my hands with all these little scratches on them. And he goes, Charlie, why don't you just wear gloves? And I was like, yeah,
that's funny.
I guess that's something I could be doing. I'm a dumbass over here mixing
I mean, those moments is what teaches us. So thank
paste.
That chef. Hell yeah. Wear some gloves, baby.
Anyway,
no glove, no love.
So I was prep cooking there, and then one day they I forget what Marvin was working on veg on the hotline, and he was leaving, and they were just like, and I was like gung ho on letting me working that station.
Yeah.
And this is like, I think I was 17 at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And like, this is a legit restaurant. Like these Jeff Tunks' restaurants at this time, like, when Washington Post magazines and shit were coming out, they're always in the top 100. So like, Marvin was like, he was down for me to learn, and he would pull me aside and like teach me here and there, what he's doing. Cause like, it was essentially, the station was 2 fryers and 2 woks. And you're essentially putting up the veg for both sides, your grill and your saute. And so I'm over here, he's teaching me.
All right, go ahead.
So at this point, like I said, Marvin's teaching me how to do it. The boss man is like, fuck this guy, he's definitely not working this station. And then I don't know what convinced him, but he pulled me aside one day and he was like, look, I think it was, also we were going into summer break. So I was able to work, full time. And he was just like, look, man, I should not let you do this. But seeing as how I stand directly next to you on this, expo, watching you run the station, he's like, you fuck up once, you're off the station. And don't fuck up. And I fucking went for it, and I definitely fucked up sometimes, but for the most part, I held it down, didn't do dumbass shit. And,
yeah.
You just do. The thing is like, it's, I wouldn't say it's the same going to every new restaurant, but as long as you just do everything that they tell you to do.
Exactly how they tell you to do it, you'll be fine.
You're fine.
Listen to your boss.
Yeah. Don't be thinking on your own. You're fucking...
Yeah.
You don't know more than them. You
exactly.
don't know what's going on.
Exactly.
Fucking, yeah.
That's something that you learn very early on, and it's a good lesson.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, you like come from culinary school, you're like, I know what's up, I know how to cook, and then you're put in your place and you know,
Yeah.
I do not know how to cook.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like you may think that this is how to do it, but this is the wrong way to do it. This is the better way to do it.
Yeah. And then the dynamic happens when you go to another restaurant and you've been doing something like the way for 5 years or whatever. Then you go somewhere and they're like, that's wrong.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what?
Yeah. That was the way when we were working over at Tallulah's.
Yeah.
Where you were like, or I think it was Jake comes up to us and he's like, there's the right way, or he's like, there's the wrong way, the right way, and then the Tallulah's way.
Exactly.
You know? So whatever way you think is right is not the right way.
Exactly.
It's my way.
It's like,
the
just
right way.
do it my way. Yeah. That was a strong lesson. So yeah, me and Charlie worked at Tallulah on Thames together. But that's later on in the story, so we'll stick to the chronological order here. All right? So you're at this restaurant, and then that's your first restaurant. Now, where do you go after that?
So I'm doing that, and then so the cool thing with that, you know, in regards, you know, I get actually, you know what? So I work there. That's my restaurant. I'm also, they've kind of stuck me here and there in their other restaurants that they had there. They had 3 other restaurants.
Yeah.
To kind of get my, you know, just kind of visual of these other types of cuisine that they did. But then, honestly, then I went to culinary school, Johnson & Wales in Providence. And then went to school that year.
Were you working anywhere that first year?
Yeah, I was working at, we opened up the Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Ruth's Chris
Providence
Steakhouse.
That year, yeah.
So what's up with Ruth's Chris Steakhouse? You've told me about their wet aging. Yeah. What is that all about? What are they doing exactly? Because I know I have a gist of what it is, but are they doing anything special? Are they?
I think it's essentially just, you know, cryovac.
Just leave it in the bag.
Leave it in the bag.
All right.
Yeah, you know what?
Simple enough.
I gotta say, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse has a time and a place. When you want a steak.
Oh, for sure.
And you want those fries, or you want those like curly onions and shit that they do. You want that chopped salad. Yeah, they do some good stuff.
Hell yeah.
I gotta say, working at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse was the learning experience that I do not want to work in a corporate job.
For sure.
Yeah, you know what I mean? When you're young, especially, you know, you're trying to learn all these cool techniques, and you know, you're trying to be really coached by, be mentored by a chef. And you know what? I had a really great mentor there, Kev Gaudreau.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Fucking great chef. Great Rhode Island chef.
Yeah.
And he was the chef there.
Yeah.
But,
he was, when we were at Tallulah, where was he chef at? That place right across the street.
The Pier.
The Pier, that's right.
The Pier. He's got a place called Kev's Place, I think, now up
in
Providence.
Dude, I remember one time it was Saturday night service, and we're at Tallulah's. You weren't there yet. And the garment shade guy looks at me and says, "We're out of oysters." And I'm like, oh, my God. We had like 6 orders on the board, like more tickets coming in, more people sitting down. And, you know, it's like a bomb's about to go off. We're like, what do we do? Chef's like, quick, go to the pier and get more oysters. I fucking ran there, man. I ran there so fast to get those oysters. I was like, I'm going to get back in like 2 minutes, and this guy's going to be like, what did you do? Were those out back? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I go there, and I get in there, and one of our buddies that lived in Newport, we went to his house for his birthday party. What's his name? I forget his name. You went to his wedding, I believe.
Joey Dumas.
Joey Dumas.
Yeah.
What up, Joey Dumas?
Yeah, Mike.
What's he doing right now?
I haven't talked to him in years.
All right. Well, there you go. Yeah. What up, Joey? Maybe reach out to Charlie, you know?
Yeah,
we miss you.
Hear from you, man.
Yeah. And congratulations on his wedding, which was a long time ago now, but I haven't seen him, so it's okay.
Yeah.
So at that point, I run in there. Joey Dumas is like, "Oh yeah, here you go." And I go in the walk-in, and they have tanks. They got like running tanks, and they got lobsters and crab, and I'm like, this is nuts. I'd never worked in a restaurant like that, so I'd never seen something like that. And I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
This is like those places that do 4,000 covers that you know, I've never worked in restaurants like that. I know they exist.
Yeah.
It's like, God bless whoever works in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a
hard-ass job.
Just getting
you know, cooking in general is hard, but when you're doing like more than 1,000 covers, like, you know, we do 400, and I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I can just only imagine.
It's just another Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and the way that's run, it's crazy.
Yeah. So Ruth Chris Steakhouse, he was the chef there.
Yeah, he taught me a lot, but my biggest problem was like because it was such a huge. There was 100 Ruth's Chris's in the state or in the country at the time, and they were planning on opening up another 100 or something. And you'd get like this so and so chef, the regional chef, or the vice regional chef, and it's just all these guys that roll in suits, and like just bust your balls and then just walk out. And you're like, what the fuck just happened here? Like,
this guy's not here all day. I don't even know him.
Yeah, why is this guy coming in and hassle me because he thinks that my mise en place is fucked up when it's absolutely not. Yeah, and like, I don't know.
That's sure a crazy dynamic to work with.
Yeah, I'm sure that they've, there's a reason that they're in that space. But like I said, as a young chef, that's not something that you're not really.
That's not constructive education.
Yeah, you're not. Right, when you're 19, you're not there to learn about SOPs. Yeah, you know what I mean.
I feel like like the best way to train a cook or like a chef is like the definitive difference between right and wrong. Mm-hmm. And like sometimes that can get convoluted depending on how many sous chefs or managers there are, and that can ultimately lead to some negative energy in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I had some fun there. I had some good times. Yeah, man. But, you're young. You just line cooking, going out in Providence, Rhode Island every night.
Crushing. That's one of those things you just crush. Yeah. Every day you're like, you just get your ass whooped.
And then you go out, get some beers.
And the whole time I was going to Johnson & Wales full time too. So I'm like,
that's right.
I'm working 50 hours a week at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, and then we'd have class from 7 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon, and then I'd fucking go home, get on, change, get on a bus, go into Providence, work until, 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Come home, party.
I mean, hey, you're in college, baby.
You're in college. You're young. You can do it. And then wake up, sleep a couple hours, wake up, start it all again. Yeah.
Sleep deprivation.
Yeah,
something me and Tyler was talking about. Yeah,
I was listening to that shit.
It's your training.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I did that my first year, and then I went back to DC, and that was cool because I worked. At that point, I went back, and they threw me on hotline. Saute dinner service at Acadiana, which was their Louisiana-style fish house within the Passion Fruits group, hospitality group, and that was literally the hardest station in the entire company to work. Yeah. And I'm 19 working that, and it's like I worked dinner service there, and I was the tournade for their other 3 restaurants at the time for the lunch service. So
you went somewhere different to work every day.
Yeah.
Depending on where they needed you.
Yeah. So every time they'd give somebody 2 weeks off vacation, I'd go work their station for 2 weeks. Okay. And it was in the daytime. So
it didn't switch every day.
No, every 2 weeks it switched.
Because that'd be confusing, motherfucker. Show up to the wrong restaurant.
It was cool though, is because so they're all the way that it was. At the time the restaurants were set up was they were all within walking distance. So you'd 8:30 you'd start your lunch shift at say I'd go work at Saba, another restaurant they had, another great restaurant. It was Latin American. I go to Saba, work 8:30 in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, crush lunch, walk over to Acadiana, 3 or 4 blocks away, clock in at 3:30, close at 1:30 or however it would be. Get on the train, take that, because I was living at my parents still in PG. Take that back down to Suitland, because that's where that was my stop. Green Line, Suitland. I fell asleep on that train so many nights. Woke up on Branch Avenue with just the conductor being like, "Hey, get the fuck out of here. This is the last train. You got to trying to get a taxi back to Suitland at 3 in the morning."
How far away is that?
I mean, it was just a stop, but it's it's a 20-minute cab ride. Yeah.
With no
2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, that's cell phones. They had cell phones then.
Yeah.
It was about but there was 4 years in at that point. Yeah, that's right.
That was you going outside to a taxi and being like, "Can you take me to Suitland?" and that taxi driver's saying no, and